Well, we almost forgot how to do this thing. Facebook Live.
It's been so long.
And the voice just went out. How fitting is that? But of course, we got meteorologist Leslie Castro, Davion Huggins, and myself, Chief Meteorologist Dan Scoff. And hey, we've got some storms to talk about.
Yeah.
And we've been doing some behind the scenes things around here. We're going to share a little bit with you on that. We don't know if this is even going to work, honestly. We got to reboot all the computers and dust the weather lives off and get our feet wet again, literally. But we got some rain coming our way, so we only got 2 microphones. So if Leslie's going to speak, well, kind of lean in, and then you can talk a little louder and stuff like that. We're going to talk about the different ingredients and stuff like that. And yeah, we do finally have a low-end severe weather threat. I mean, really, honestly, the last time we've seen measurable rainfall.
A long time.
It's been a long time ago.
Long time.
What a way to start the year, too.
Yeah.
We're only 7 days in to 2026, and we're already.
It's only right. We've been enjoying 80-degree Christmas and 70-degree Januaries.
80-degree Christmas, and then on top of that, you don't have the thunderstorms that followed that. Right. So it's really nice. But Davion put together a little Facebook Live, all the run through that we're going to go through. Before we do that, I wanted to share with something with you. It is our Mega Doppler brand new banners.
Nice.
We're not all done with them yet, but check this out. We've got Mega Doppler. There it is. This is a universal banner that's going to be on everything. What's really cool about this is, check this out. I'm not even next to my Mega Doppler computer. And if I hit Mega Doppler NROT, normalized rotation, not only does it change the actual graphic, now of course we still got to update a lot of stuff, but not only does it change the actual graphic, but it also changes what is shown in terms of the banner. So we're able to control the radar from our streaming computer, changing the products with the banner changing in real time. So if you actually go to Leslie storm relative velocity, and we can click on this. So there it is. Not only does it change the banner, but it also changes the products. And then finally, let's do a PTDS. We'll do the type. Yep, there's the tornado detector. All brand new banners, baby. And they're going to be. We're not totally done yet. Notice the time is a little off. There's still adjustments to be done. Trust me, there's a lot of things to go through. And why is Photoshop so darn complicated?
Yeah,
golly. I just want to move a text over and I have to click 27,000 buttons. So, all right, let's take a look here at the risk, and enough with the behind the scenes stuff, but it is going to be really cool when we don't have to worry about matching those colors.
Oh, yeah.
So Davion, take us through what we got cooking.
All right. Well, already you got a sneak peek on Mega Doppler. You can already see we do have a few showers starting to move into the area. Now, some of this, of course, is Virga. It's not really reaching the ground.
Yeah.
But atmosphere will continue to start moistening up, and by the late or early morning hours, the wee morning hours, really, we should start to see some showers, even a few thunderstorms for our friends over in the west.
Northeast Oklahoma, I think I-44, the corridor, and northwest of that's probably going to be the greatest potential for storms. So we got some people that are scared, and I understand that. But the deal is honestly, this severe weather potential is very low, and we're going to get to that right now. It's a non-zero tornado threat, meaning that, and some people were asking stuff on social media about this.
Yeah.
A non-zero tornado threat just basically means, we'll get a Leslie scooted on in there. It just basically means that the tornado potential is not expected, but there could be a rotating storm or two.
Just 1 or 2.
And honestly, the conditions could change too a little bit. You could have a little increase in moisture. You talked about climbing those temperatures a little bit more.
Yes. The models have been uptrending when it comes to the temperatures. So initially they were talking mid 60s. Now they're leaning closer to the 70s. So
and
we can get warm with that.
You know what that's telling me? We hopefully we don't see any peaks of sunshine as we go throughout the late morning into the afternoon. It's one of those days where even though the sunshine, you're like, oh, it's nice outside. You don't really want to see the sun.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. And because what that does is that heats up the atmosphere. Let's go back to the graphics. We'll show you the future radar. We don't want to waste a whole bunch of your time, but we wanted to provide this live weather update. like I said, get back on riding the bicycle, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right on it.
It's just like riding a bike. We got all this stuff. So let's go ahead and hit the button, and we'll move along and we'll advance. There is the tornado potential. Now, this is a large area. Why is it such a large area? Because there's uncertainty exactly where a tornado might develop,
Right.
if even happens.
Exactly.
So the large area just indicates the potential is there for maybe a tornado or two to develop, but the large area just also means an uncertainty too.
Exactly.
I do not think there's going to be an upgrade for this severe weather.
Yeah, I don't think
If
so.
it does get upgraded, it would be in the morning hours at around 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning. And the reason for that would be maybe a little more sunshine and a little less rainfall.
Right.
So advancing back again, we'll take a look here at some of the individual threats, which, by the way, this is something that that I talked about. We had to adjust the color table for this too.
Certainly.
It makes it really confusing, but just to let you know, the Storm Prediction Center, when they have the risks, the only one that is very low is the tornado potential.
Right.
Yep.
Because there's only a 2% for tornado, there's 5% for large hail, and 5% for damaging winds. But that's the extent of how low it goes.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then I was looking at it, and you
Right.
even mentioned it. Thank you for mentioning it,
Yeah.
because I remembered I have to change it, and I didn't know how to change it. And so now we adjusted
Figured
it
out.
where brown is actually low. And now we still have to adjust some of the other graphics too. So there's always
A lot of
something to
work.
be
Always
done.
something. Yeah, it was a little confusing earlier.
But back to the graphics and back to the timing, because that's what people want to know, and we're going to get to that here. Maybe I'll give you the controller, and you can go
There
ahead
we
and
go.
just click away.
Yeah.
So there's those storms that are, or the rain that's developing. You got the front right now. This is a key ingredient too. That stationary front that is just to our south is going to be lifting northward. Now that's going to lift as a warm front, warm and humid air. We're getting the overrunning precipitation right now, which is the shower activity.
Exactly.
So
And
there's the energy. Very
no.
intense
All
energy.
that
Now you got to
energy.
move that east.
Yeah,
Oh,
got to
yeah.
move that off to the right over
Yeah.
New Mexico, because it's moving. It got that kick already. So.
Now this system has been sitting out there for the last several days,
Yeah.
really,
Just
and finally
boom.
gets a kick.
I know, and now it's moving fast at that too.
got the Cam Little punt, and now it's racing,
Oh,
racing
yeah.
on its way.
The Cam Little leg, man, he can drill 70-yard field
70
goals.
yards easily.
He
so.
is just, he was a stud when he was here too. It was awesome. We need a good field goal kicker. I know we got one from Memphis now,
Okay.
that came in, but he only had like a 75-80% accuracy. So
It's better than me.
in meteorology,
Better than Ohio State.
Better than I can kick.
Oh, sore subject.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Band-Aid's still on for that.
Yeah, no kidding. Back to this. This is the vorticity. Now, Davion, this is really important to kind of map out where this is going, because the bulk of the energy, and we have some people that are asking about Northeast Oklahoma, Stillwell, love a good thunderstorm. So Stillwell, a little closer to the energy, and this is more focused to the northwest of us. So if we put this into motion, you will see that it does become, that zipped so fast.
Yeah, that was very
Let's
fast.
just go ahead and we'll kind of step through it. There is a look at that shortwave trough. Now, one of the things that I'm noticing is it looks like that energy might be a little bit farther south than originally thought.
Mhm.
It does.
So
look
we
like that.
still got thunderstorm potential, but the focus of the energy is going to be a little bit more to the northwest of us. And I'll show you what that does in terms of the future radar, at least what it's going to try to do, according to the computer models. So right on cue, let's take a look at what we've got in terms of the future radar. And we'll bring this up full without camera so you can see. There it is, some rain that's popping up. There's some rain and thunderstorms that could be developing. But there's where the severe weather potential starts to increase after 7 a.m. off to our west. Now, keep in mind, look at this. There's a lot of rain over northwest Arkansas at this time by 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. And some people asking about Bella Vista and other areas. Every single area is under that very low potential for a rotating storm. It just depends on where the storms track. And here you can see additional energy moving in. But notice how it does tend to weaken. The reason that it might be weakening is because of the extra cloud cover and the rain. that's expected to develop. But we'll look at some of the ingredients and stuff like that. But that's what we're looking at in terms of precipitation according to the future track. Now you have other models loaded.
I do have
Davion, go ahead and take it away, man. I'm gonna let you steer the ship here.
Yeah, so we're going to back this up just a little bit because we want to show you the progression just again of that. One thing I want to point out, traveling on Interstate 44, especially in northeastern Oklahoma, it's going to be a little rough during the morning and early afternoon hours because that's when the bulk of those shower and thunderstorm activity is going to be there. A couple of those could actually drop some pretty decent sized hailstones with that. You'll see the reval activity is a little bit on the higher side. And then, of course, as those storms do progress over to our east, over towards our coverage area, they will start to weaken some, but a few of those will try to overperform, especially if those rain showers don't persist as much over our coverage area.
One thing I want to note before you advance it is look at how strong those southerly winds are.
Yeah.
So that creates low-level wind shear, and that low-level wind shear will bring the potential for rotating thunderstorms if, and this is a big if, and by the way, we were doing some QLCS training earlier today.
Yeah, we were.
Leslie and I and Davion, we were all looking at that QLCS training, and we got to have that low-level instability. If it's not there, we won't see that. We won't see that tornado potential. So going back to this on the future track, and do you have some? You have some of the other models loaded, right?
Oh, yeah.
To the NAM 3 kilometer. All right, so
hot.
this is the graph. The graph, man,
it's underperformed.
Oh, it barely had rain at all from yesterday, and I was like, I'm not showing this. So put this into motion. Now it's actually showing rain, which is nice.
Right.
But
it's a little faster with it too.
That it's always fast.
Yeah, you see the time. That's 11 a.m.
There is a line. There is strong low-level shear, but that doesn't really develop much.
No.
So I do think that we see some rain. People are going to ask too, how much rain are we going to see? I could show you that on Weather One, but go ahead, Davion. Take us through the next model.
Yeah. So this is the NAM. It does a little bit better in terms of reflectivity, but I still don't like the outcome of this. This actually has a little bit more shower and thunderstorm activity over towards Tulsa than it showed earlier today. But you'll notice it kind of just gets rid of all of it. Like what happened between 9
You know
and
why?
12?
It's because of that. Go back a little bit. If you'll notice all those showers that are over the area right there, that is basically saying it's going to be raining. Right. Now, there's a chance that sometimes that doesn't fill in as much as it shows.
Right.
Or if it does fill in, then yes, we are going to be cloudy. We're going to be cool. And as those storms move in, think about turning off a burner on a stove. You lose your boiling water, and that's going to be that. So, yeah, you lose all the instability. We'll take a look at that instability here in just a bit. But there is this thunderstorm. Notice it does still develop some storms as they come over. Let's move it along. And they're right there over southwestern Carroll County, northern Madison County. It tries to develop an isolated storm. So that's why there's uncertainty exactly where these storms are going to be, but we know that the entire area at least has the potential.
Right. And then
I don't really buy the second line.
Yeah, I don't buy that either.
Earlier, the HRRR had an increase in the significant tornado parameter by the evening, but that didn't make sense to me.
Speaking of tornado parameters.
Okay, so now, Davion, take us through what this is. The storm spin track.
Storm spin track. So this is pretty much measuring rotation within a storm. And you can see we actually do have a little bit of rotation possible with some of these storms, especially over the state of Oklahoma and into northeast or northwestern portions of Oklahoma. But you can see, or eastern, I had it right the first time.
Yeah.
It's been a long day, guys. But
you
can see it's still
especially me complaining about Photoshop over here. I'm sorry, guys. You had to deal with that.
It's on the lower end, of course. We're not expecting anything widespread or anything major of sorts, but nonetheless, the possibility is there. And you can see even this is a little bit of an uptick versus what we saw earlier today.
Yes.
It really didn't have any of these rotating storms over our coverage area. It kind of kept it off towards Tulsa. So this is a little bit on the uptrend. So we're going to continue to have to watch this as we go throughout the overnight period and into tomorrow. Because
I just want to mention, this does not mean this is where a tornado is going to track.
This is not exactly.
And I don't know if you said that or not. I'm looking at some of the comments and stuff
this
like
will
that.
not.
Sorry.
This is not what that means at all.
But it does mean that the ingredients are there for the potential for rotating storms. The models are predicting that there might be some storm tracks that rotate. But that's what it is. It's not this is not a tornado track. You
Right.
got to preface that for
Yes.
if you don't know about it. Troy said absolutely terrible because somehow they can magically know exactly where storms will set up. Don't exactly know what that's supposed to mean. We don't know where
don't know.
storms are exactly going to pop up, but we know that the ingredients are there, and we'll take a deeper dive into that. But that's the problem. The models, remember all that Baja Blast energy?
Didn't
Yeah.
do so hot with it.
Exactly.
Kept it all to the south. When you see a model initialize wrong, it's kind of just like,
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it doesn't surprise me with Baja Blast energy. It just doesn't.
they don't do so hot with
All
it.
right, let's go ahead and we'll hit space bar and move along to some colder air coming behind this system,
Now
right?
behind this system, things are going to get a little bit on the chillier side. You can see by the time we get to I'll say Friday
night to Saturday
night into
morning.
Saturday, you see all that cold air coming back towards our direction, and then temperatures are going to be struggling to get out of the 40s as we go throughout your weekend. So it's going to feel like winter, at least in the short term. Well, I don't think it's going to last very long. I think we get back into the mid 50s by next week.
Yeah, you can see that cold air kind of move
taking-
in and then retreat and
get its bearings and it's out of here.
Yep.
And you see
And then it's mild again, but then it's going to get a little colder. There's that cold air coming.
Another
And
cold
I
blast.
do believe that's another cold blast that could produce a little bit of precipitation. We're starting to see a trend here. I will say this. If you're wondering about where winter is, I do fully believe that by the end of next week, you'll be saying, okay, winter has arrived.
Winter is finally
And
here.
and this is not surprising. So yes, it does need to pick a warm side. But you know what? Honestly, with an amplified pattern, a La Nina still in place, this does represent essentially exactly what we can expect. So this does not necessarily mean snow, but it does mean these wild temperature swings where we warm and we cool. I want to show the jet stream because some people have been asking, why has it been so warm lately? And Aleshli, while I'm doing this, a lot of people might want to look at models, computer model soundings. Would it be possible if you on Weather 2 load up some of the HRRR models on Pivotal? Yeah. We'll do that and we'll load that up. So let me take a look here at this jet stream energy. Hope the new cameras get used. I heard Casey, in fact, someone came to me and mentioned that you have a new camera. It was Brad Horn that I think talked about that.
Yep.
Wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that said you have a new camera in the. Oh no, it wasn't Brad Horn. It was Cody Hudson, one of our storm spotters, that said Kason Mullins has a new weather camera near the Jasper area. Message me, Kason, on Facebook because I'd love to see it. By the way, but here's the reason that I'm going to go back to our graphics here on Max 1. And so the jet stream, you'll see, is finally starting to dip a little bit more over our area. And so that jet stream, now that it's dipping over our area, is going to allow for thunderstorms. That's why we haven't seen any rain over the last several weeks. Because what's happened is, and I'm going to draw this out on here, our jet stream has been essentially, let's see here. See if I can draw something on here. I don't know if it's going to work. Let's see. Our jet stream has been more like a big ridge of high pressure. So it's been kind of going up and over us, and there's been warm weather. Now we've got the big dip in the jet stream, and so the air is flowing from southwest to northeast. That's allowing for colder air to settle in, and that's why those storm chances are on the increase. I don't think I can draw on there. Yep, I can draw on that a little bit, but it doesn't show up perfectly. So if we go back in the past, there was a giant ridge, and the jet stream was way up to the north, like almost like this. I mean, not even close to us. That's why we were so warm, and that's why we didn't have any storms. But finally, we're getting a breakdown of the ridge. And if we put this into motion, now you can see that colder air is starting to settle in. That right there is called cross-polar flow. This is some colder weather coming our way, and this is going to be for the middle of January into the end of January. And then there's another cold snap right there. So we've got winter coming our way. I do believe that we could pretty much bank on some colder weather about to move in. Now we won't be able to show that on Max 2. We'll have to bring it on Weather 2, Leslie, just because I can't share the screen on that, unfortunately. But if we go to go to Weather 2 over here, then we can bring up that graphic. So let's while she's doing that, and we're going to take a look at some soundings. Yeah, it's a Katy Perry song. That's right. Hot and cold, yes and no, in, out, up, down.
Yeah, up, down. That's been our temperatures.
Well, Daniel, we were going to have to leave this for another time about reading a weather sounding, because we are going to talk about that. But we do want to look at the QLCS tornado potential and see if it's there. To take a look at the 3 ingredients. We don't know exactly everything that's going to take place, but Joel said, I think it's going to be a thin line of storms. Do we have that timing? I agree with that 100%. And it's going to be late morning into the afternoon. A lot of people are wondering about timing. This is what we have essentially for that timing. And you'll see it ramps up really quick during the late morning into the early afternoon hours and then drops off really fast. That's because that energy swings through. It's not a super widespread rain. We'll take a look at how much rain as well. But that's our timing for Northwest Arkansas. You get farther south, you're closer to the warmer air, Davion.
Right.
However, you're not closer to the upper level support and the upper level energy, and therefore the storms might be a little more removed from the river valley.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little hard to get a severe storm the further south we go tomorrow, based on the setup that we're seeing right now. It just looks like most of the shower and storm activity, at least the worst of it, will be confined to a very small area in northeastern Oklahoma and northwestern Arkansas. But even then, so it's not much.
Brendan asked about critical angles. We'll have to look at that here. It's all about the 0 to 3 kilometer shear vector and if it's oriented line normal. So we'll talk about that. We want to zoom in on those. You might want to log in too on Pivotal Weather so you can get more zoomed in. We'll take a look at that here in just a bit. But there's the rain totals. So it has trended up. It used to have 1/100th of an inch in Fort Smith. Now it's got 1/10 of an inch. So it's not quite as much. So that's not bad. But we'll be looking at the critical angle storms just in time for school pickup. That's right. I think it actually might be a little before school pickup. I'm thinking around midday. Josh Rugger will be here, and he will be all ready to go. Yeah, that's definitely going to be longer to talk about SKUTs. But you know what? We will provide that, and we will. We're going to dive deeper into some of the understanding behind the weather on some of the lives. That's one of the things I want to do in 2026. Is to describe more of the weather.
Right.
Because you can get a lot of posts on social media. You can get a lot of computer models forecasts from 10, 14 days out. You can get a lot of 4-week forecasts, but they don't really describe the science behind it. So we're going to, and also how bad those long-range models are typically. It should log in. Did it not just log in? Davey, I'm going to have you take over. I'm going to see if I can fix what's going on here. But okay, so going back to that graphic.
Yeah, so just taking you back just a little bit. Let's get off of that camera angle and go into your Max 2 full.
Good deal. You got
Max
that.
1 full, I should say. So there we go. And you can see, again, we're talking about not much in terms of rainfall. There actually is a few burn bans that have been in place across a big portion of Northwest Arkansas and the rest of the state as well, with wildfire danger continuing to grow. And we got those strong southerly winds tomorrow. It just doesn't look like the burn bans that we're seeing. It doesn't look like the amount of rainfall that we're going to get is going to be enough to get rid of some of those burn bans and the drought conditions. In fact, it's been a while since we've shown, or at least not a while, but we haven't shown the drought monitor today. But that's something I could pull up really quickly, give you guys a good look at, because parts of Northwest Arkansas, especially along and north of Interstate 40, are definitely still in drought conditions. And it looks like, unfortunately, that's probably going to continue. We usually get our drought update every Thursday. And I got to say, it doesn't look like this is going to be enough rain. We're only talking about at least portions up to a half an inch across portions of our area. There you go. You can see the drought monitor. Of course, this is released every Thursday, like I said. And you'll see the River Valley abnormally dry, and then portions of northwest Arkansas in that moderate drought level right now. Not looking impressive in terms of rainfall, so I don't think this is going to be enough to relieve us completely. We may see some areas, isolated areas in there. There we go. We got the soundings.
Yeah, so we got some soundings on there now. We will. We're going to look at some stuff. So first of all, I'm going to bring this up full because I'm going to be over on a different computer. But this is mostly unstable Cape. So this is basically measuring how much instability we're going to see. And you can see that the models are trying to develop a bunch of rain, which is what's killing that instability, which is why those storms aren't very strong. So we're talking very low elevated instability. However, if we look at the surface-based Cape, this will probably be even less, to be honest with you. And so here's what I want to do. Instead of doing the forecast loops, yeah, look at how limited that instability is.
Yeah,
but that is a little bit later. So let's do this just so we don't have to bounce back and forth all the time. And here's the surface-based SIM. So there's not a whole lot of convective inhibition. And if we look at storm relativisticity, it is pretty high. So there is a lot of wind shear with this system. But I will say it might be a little out of phase. This is high noon right here. This is where the greatest shear potential is going to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on a sounding and we're going to take a look. So first of all, the profile looks pretty impressive in terms of the photograph,
certainly,
but the instability is trash.
It's lacking.
It's very low,
which is good
instability.
News. Which is good news.
That is, though, a rainy profile, and that is rain. So this is a saturated profile because the temperature and the dew point are right next to each other, and so that provides essentially wet weather. So we will see rain, which is something that we desperately needed. We're going to take a look here at maybe a little bit of a lower end tornado threat in the river valley. There you get to see the greater instability. It's still pretty low. Notice how the possible hazard type says tornado. That wind shear, it's not 100% great, but it has a critical angle of 45. So it's a little more favorable for tornado potential. But this is also, you'll notice, a low-based, basically low-topped environment for tornado potential. So we're not looking at anything super great. Notice how these numbers are very low. It might increase a little bit as we get farther east. It's all about if that instability could be greater. So if we take a look at some other models, let's look at the NAM 3 kilometer for the same time. Pretty much a similar story. Not as much in northwest Arkansas. A little more instability, but this is actually very low as well. 63, 61, temperatures, dew points pretty close. That actually doesn't even show a whole lot of rain, to be honest with you. That's not even saturated, so I'm not buying that at all. We come here and we look, and we've got that's a little more instability. The LCL, LSC is pretty close together, but this is a pretty big Cape robber right here, and that's probably before convection develops. So let's take a look at if we go back to composite reflectivity. Let's do 1 kilometer, and yeah, look at that. That doesn't have any storms at all. So there's a lot of uncertainty with this. But remember that vorticity maximum that's coming through is probably stronger than what the models show. So I know the RRFS model was a little bit more bullish on thunderstorm development. So let's go back and let's take a look at what that has. And 1 kilometer is pretty trash. But if we look at composite reflectivity, see, there's those cells in southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma. Let's take a look at a sounding for us. Very minimal instability. So
not much work.
Yeah. So that basically sums it up right there. Very low instability, some high shear. The shear is okay, but we're not exactly looking at everything as much. Oh, Josh Marshall. Did you meet Josh Marshall?
No, I haven't.
He used to be one of our directors. He's a paranormal investigator.
Oh wow. Okay.
Does some media for Walmart. Oh, he says right there, give the production peeps my love. Gonna hit the sack. I hear that. Nice, you think the NAM is spot on? I think it's a little underdone.
I think it's a little underdone.
But then again, we were kind of looking at some different things. I sent a link and time lapse of the sunset this evening. Cool. Awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, we're kind of shooting the breeze here. We're talking a lot about different stuff, but anything you want to know about before we shut this down? And again, if you're just joining, we've got some upgrades to Mega Doppler. Number one, we've
excited
got
about
some new
this.
banners. Not only do we have new banners, but this is cool. You're going to love this. At least I'm going to love this. We've got the ability to change not only the graphic, but the radar product at the same time. And so basically, we're able to control the radar using just one graphic. And that's really going to be coming handy. Now, I've got some adjustments to do to make this all happen. Because if you'll see, I'll probably hit, yeah, there's the PTDS, but that's not even the right banner. That's the old banner, and that's the new banner. So I really like the look of the new banner. I think it's a lot cleaner. I think it's a lot more professional looking. There could be a sneaky storm or two. I agree with that, Cameron. That's why we're watching it closely, and that's why we're keeping you updated. I think we do get snow this year, Abby. We're not even
100%.
close to being done with winter. Not even
And
close.
winter hasn't even clocked in. For
No. But
being completely honest.
If you're just joining on, you can look back at this stream about halfway through. We talked about some cold weather coming our way. Mid-January, a little over a week, about 10 days,
Start to get cold.
it's going to be getting cold. Even before that, to be honest with you.
And it'll be more cold blasts after that. It'll be more frequent compared to what we've been
Yeah, instead of this little tiny blast. So I do think we get some snow. It's just going to be a little while. Well, I'm going to shut her down here. I think we're done with the Facebook Live. I will say this real quick before we leave you. What do you need to know and how do you need to prepare? Well, of course, download our Weather Authority app if you haven't done that. Let me give you some links here real quick. We'll take a look. So first of all, I got to add those actually. That would be a good thing to add. Weather Call Next Gen. This is a great service. This is going to alert you only if you're in the path of a warning. This is so key when it comes to severe weather forecasting, and not only that, but staying ahead of the alerts.
Yep.
So what this does is it provides hyper local alerts, tornado confirmation calls. Let's say there's a storm that has a severe thunderstorm warning, but then a tornado is confirmed, and then it becomes tornado warned. You'll get a call saying you're in the path of a confirmed tornado that's doing damage. Extreme thunderstorm alerts. There was not too long ago, back several years ago, there was an accident on the duck boats in Branson, Missouri. Have you heard about this?
No.
Oh, this is a bad deal. Now the lawsuit was actually just dismissed. For some of the folks, that's just the news. We're just reporting that the lawsuit was dismissed. There was no criminal allegation. There was no criminal record against the operators. The storm was pretty tough, but anyways, to make a long story short, the reason I'm bringing that up is because that was an extreme thunderstorm, meaning they had 70 miles per hour winds that were coming through, and that was way out ahead of the storm. The gust front was like 15, 20 miles out ahead of the storm. So it wasn't tornado, but it was strong winds. And calls to landline phones. Aren't the landlines making a comeback, to be honest with you? I heard they are.
I think they are.
And so, hey, so are bell-bottom jeans and all that stuff. I don't know.
Everything
repeats. It does. What goes around comes around, which probably will be the case with the Mega Doppler banners. We'll go revert back to the original ones. But no, not anytime soon.
Not now.
I guarantee that. So going back to this, that's a great way to get that information. There's the link on the screen. What we could do is we can post that link in the comments. So hold on just a second, and I'll give you that link for Weather Call Next Gen. You see it? Okay, good. There we are. Thank you, Leslie. It's been a long day looking at graphics here. But we're going to paste this. There is the link to get signed up. So it's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, and all that stuff. And I think what we can do now is actually you can click on the links through StreamYard. But there it is. That's the link. That'll get you to Weather Call Next Gen. Now, just to let you know, when you sign up for this service, it costs a little over $1 a month. That's not bad. Think of peace of mind in the middle of the night for some of these storms. If you want lightning, it'll cost a little bit more, but it's under $18 a year. I mean, think about this.
Jeez.
I went to
It's really
Chick-fil-A the other day, and it
Spent
was
more than
like
$18.
almost
Right.
$20 for my food, and that was using some rewards.
I definitely
So-
spent about 20 on Chipotle earlier.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go. So that's one meal to save your life. Really great source of warning information. Then finally, our weather app. Anything else to add, Leslie, at all?
Have you guys spoken about the gusts for tomorrow?
You know, we haven't.
Yeah, it's
They're
going
a
to
little
be.
gusty. I was looking at that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
those-
do have to
those-
show that.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's going
Where
to be
is our weather
a little
app?
windy.
There it is,
tomorrow
right here.
with those thunderstorms.
We'll take a look at the wind gusts. You can go ahead and bring that up here. Let me go first of all and show you this. This is the QR code to scan. You can take a screenshot on your device, and then you can go to the QR code, which is really cool because you're like, how can I get to the QR code if I'm watching it on there? But that will give you our Weather Authority app, where you'll get the very latest live streaming weather information. Josh Rugger will be providing a live update if, in fact, we have storms rolling in. I'll be watching the radar. Davion Leslie, we've been doing some training on the radar today and QLCS training. But let's go back real quick to those gusts that you talked about. So as this system starts to approach, those winds are
Those
going to
winds
crank
out
up.
of the south.
That's a sign that you've got that severe weather potential. So even though we might not get severe winds, we could get strong enough winds to start blowing some patio furniture around, which reminds me, I got to take down my backyard decorations.
Yeah, that-
Someone also said, too, to get the inflatables down
Yeah,
for
inflatables.
Christmas.
I have to remind Doug to go get his grill cover.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep.
So, yeah.
So great information there. Look at that. That's a pretty gusty day.
Yeah, those winds out of the south.
Now the HRRR is usually a little overdone, but still, we went windy tomorrow, right? For weather rate.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Sir.
Oh, yep. Graph has a lot of wind too.
Gust higher than 35.
And you can
Pretty
see the
cool.
way that piece of energy, that vorticity swings in. So, all right, guys. Well, I think not too bad for the first
Not too
Facebook Live in years.
Four score.
Oh, you know what? I did make a little bit of a mess up. Yep.
What happened?
Well, that should be on the screen. The Pascal logo. I don't know why that wasn't selected. So Pascal, I apologize profusely. This Facebook Live was brought to you by Pascal. We'll make sure that that's up and running. Yeah, they're providing all the sponsorships for all the Facebook Lives. So
Nice.
we appreciate it very much. And guys, we will we'll shut this Facebook Live down unless there's any last requests. But I don't think so. I think everybody went to sleep, including myself here
Getting
pretty
ready for
soon.
the big day.
All right. Well, we'll be watching the storms. We'll be watching them closely. Thanks for watching. Got to get the karaoke, right?
Yes.
All right. We'll see you.